Hi everyone. What I'm wanting to share today is the next step I've took in adapting playing video games for the needs of my physical disability. I've purchased a hand control for driving a vehicle where you push down for gas and up for brake. And then I've attached it to my Logitech G25, the pedals for gas and for brake. So I want to start by showing you a few clips that I filmed before making this introduction video. This is the position for what you would see when it's in use. So the strap here loops around the steering wheel and comes down the second side. That's where it's joining on there and on there. So the action is the same as if you were driving a vehicle, where pushing down the handle pushes down the pedal, and then for brake it's the upward motion. So again, for this model, gas is down and up is for brakes. This is a look at just the pedals. So you've got the base, you've got where the 3 pedals were, but I've taken off the covers for 2 of them, and then you've got the utility for driving a vehicle by hand. On the left is the data cable that on this model joins into the steering wheel. On other models this is a USB cord and it would go directly to your computer separate of the steering wheel USB connection. So I want to show what I actually did to secure the hand controls to the base. So if you look right here, I have a 5/16 inch bolt there, and then there was one on this side, and if I bring the hand controls forward, I lined up with the same size hole that matched and was already part of the pedal. So you'll see here, let me just adjust the focus, you'll see here that these pedals came with 2 M4 bolts. So for the top one, I enlarged the hole on this particular pedal style to be M4, and that 5/16 hole existed at the bottom as well, and so it was only a matter of marking the center and then drilling the 5/16 hole there and on this pedal as well. This wasn't a particularly complicated build. You do need to have the appropriate drill bit. So this here is steel, this material is steel, and using an aluminum or wood bit doesn't puncture and pierce the steel. You need to have a bit that's rated for steel. You'll see an I-beam on it, or if you don't know what I'm talking about, any hardware employee associate will gladly show you the marking on the drill bit to know what this is for, and it's for use with the steel, with the heavier and stronger metals. Now that I've shared this with you, I want to talk about what else I'm needing to do. So there's a strap on it that's designed to go around the steering column for a steering wheel, so in behind there. For the Logitech model, it keeps on getting caught on the paddles that you would use to shift up a gear or shift down a gear. So instead, what I'm needing to do is purchase a pair of eye bolts. So eye bolts are like what they sound like if you're not familiar with this type of hardware. It's a circle and then a bolt comes down to it. The idea being that the cord can go through the hole and hang off of that instead of hanging off of the computer steering wheel. The second issue is making the base heavier with the idea that it won't lift up. So I'm going to make a sand bag that goes inside of it for additional weight. And then I'm also going to use industrial strength Velcro to help the whole pedal resist being lifted up when I'm pulling up for the brakes. The final modification that this needs is to do with the tension. So on this particular model, pressing the gas down offers very little resistance, but the brake has a lot more with it. So I need to get the same spring that is used on the gas and then just put it into the same chamber as the brake has. Doing this isn't particularly technical or hard. There's a number of screws that are removed and then it just opens up, similar to cracking an egg almost, and take one spring out, put a new one in, close it back up, tighten a bolt, and then put it back together again. What you would do, and what I did, was go onto YouTube, look at your specific model, and then how to take apart, and then whatever. And you watch someone do it, and then you've got a fairly good idea if you can do it yourself. Or you ask someone in your life who's handy if they would do this for you, and you could go there and be with them while it's happening, but let someone else do it. I do want to suggest, if you do find yourself taking it apart, that you'll get a box where the pedals could sit upside down but have the weight of them on the box. Because when you take the cover off, you don't want to dislodge the 3 pedals that are there and the wires that are in and around them that sense how far the brake or gas has been pushed down. And then what you can do is take a picture with your phone or your tablet or a camera and use that as a reference guide if you've got it back together correctly. If this isn't something that you're familiar with, you could take 4 or 5 pictures and just have a few close-ups, and then if something falls out of place, you can look through the photos and see how it goes and what it's meant to be like, and then get it back together sort of how the manufacturer made it. I mean, the worst that happens is you pay someone an hour labor to reassemble the base with a different spring, and if you don't have the skills and if you're not used to doing this type of thing, as long as you've tried playing video games that use these pedals, it's money that's well spent, because this is to do with mental health, taking care of yourself, and living out your life for what you can do and not the 101 things that aren't possible due to your physical disability. So this is what I wanted to share. I know some people may be a little bit disappointed in not seeing me actually take this apart. There's different models on the market for both the hand controls and the gaming, and so I've provided enough detail that someone who's familiar with doing these types of things would have a grasp at what needs to happen without going point A, point B, point C, point D. And I think that's enough detail for sort of the broad audience, just because there's just so many models of these. You need to think about what style of hand controls you want, because instead of up and down, there's also one that's forward and backwards, almost like the motion of unlocking a vehicle door. And there's a few other motions. If you're completely lost and completely unsure, I suspect that you could contact a local mobility store or a home accessibility store and see some of these in real life, or watch them in use on YouTube like I did before I purchased the hand control that I now own and figure out what motion you think will be easiest for you. The other way of doing it would be to contact your local police force and ask to speak to the head of the traffic division and ask what's commonly used in automobiles, and that's the model you decide that you'll learn. It seems reasonable to me, and certainly police want to do and build relationships with the community where they live or exist. It'd be a reasonable request to ask to see what's commonly used and know just a little bit about it. And when I have asked the local police for input, they've been more than willing to help. So this is what I have for you today. I hope each of you are doing well. Thanks for the time that you spent with me today. Bye for now.